In episode 3 of The Acolyte, we get an extended flashback to the childhoods of Osha and Mae on the planet Brendock. We see they were the only children raised by a coven of female witches, led by Mother Aniseya, who seemingly created them via supernatural means. It seems Aniseya's partner, Mother Koril, carried the twins for her, but the how and why remains a mystery. These witches, whose sigil is a white, dotted circle painted on their heads, view the Force differently, referring to it as something no one can wield. Instead, they view it as a thread that can be pulled. Although they never named this coven, they're certainly not the first Force users, primarily women, who used the term witch to describe themselves in Star Wars. The notion of Force witches began decades ago in non-canon Star Wars lore. Mind witches bedeviled Luke Skywalker in Star Wars comics in the early 80s. However, the most famous Force witches first appear nearly 30 years ago in the Legends novel The Courtship of Princess Leia. That 1994 book by Dave Wolverton dealt with Han Solo and Leia's marriage after Return of the Jedi, and was the first introduction to the Night Sisters of Dathomir, not to mention the planet Dathomir itself. In Legends lore, the Night Sisters were founded by an exiled Jedi, some 600 years before A New Hope. When this female ex-Jedi was exiled to Dathomir, she trained 4 sensitive women on the planet into a coven of witches, neither Sith nor Jedi. A handful of expanded universe merchandise even showed what the Night Sisters looked like. Some of this later informed their in-canon looks later on. However, by the time of the Clone Wars, George Lucas decided to canonize the concept of witches innately powerful in the Force. He largely tossed out the backstory of the Night Sisters in the novels and made his own. In the Clone Wars, they eventually revealed Count Dooku's dark side apprentice, Asajj Ventress, a primary villain in the series, was a Night Sister from the planet Dathomir. During this prequel era, the Night Sisters channeled the dark side of the Force into something akin to magic. They felt their power most strongly on their homeworld, so they rarely, if ever, left Dathomir. That changed when the Coven came under the sway of Mother Talzin, who collaborated with Darth Sidious during his climb to power. In fact, Talzin gave her son to Sidious to train as a Jedi, which grew up to be Darth Maul. In the Clone Wars episode Massacre, we witnessed the genocide of the Night Sisters, orchestrated by Count Dooku and General Grievous. Almost all of the Night Sisters die in this brutal attack. Even when the Night Sisters cast spells to resurrect their dead as warriors, they all fall in battle. We later discover that at least 3 girls survived the genocide, Asajj Ventress, Merrin, and the other would grow up to become Morgan Elsbeth. Elsbeth would first appear in Season 2 of The Mandalorian, as a warlord steward of the planet in the New Republic era. She'd later play a central role in Ahsoka, where they further explored her ties to the Night Sisters. In Season 1 of Ahsoka, Elsbeth returned, as we learned that the Witches of Dathomir originated in another galaxy, on the planet Peridia. Members of their sect traveled to the main Star Wars galaxy, presumably via Purgil, thousands of years prior. There, they established an offshoot clan of Night Sisters on Dathomir. Although they massacred the clan on Dathomir, the descendants of the original witches still live on the planet. In the series, Morgan is attempting to jump to another galaxy to find her master, Grand Admiral Thrawn. When she finds him, he's not alone. He's accompanied by several Great Mothers on the planet, who attempt to help Thrawn return to his proper galaxy. So does the Coven and the Acolyte have a connection to the Night Sisters? They don't seem particularly dark-sided so far. While they have the facial markings, they are nowhere near as intentionally creepy looking as the Night Sisters. Mother Aniseya mentions that the Coven was exiled to the planet Brendock, but exiled by whom? This is pre-Empire after all. The Night Sisters on Dathomir seem to more or less coexist with the other clans, as we saw in Tales of the Empire. Perhaps they singled out Mother Aniseya's clan for unknown reasons, forcing them to leave Dathomir. It's possible that they fought the Night Sisters with light-side magic, and lost, leaving them no choice but to flee. Similar to the Night Sisters, there seems to be a visual component to the use of their powers. When the Jedi or Sith use the Force, it's invisible. When the Night Sisters and the Coven from Brendock cast spells, there's a visual element to it. We see it as a green mist for the Night Sisters, and for the Coven on Brendock, it's more like vibrations in the air, like ripples in the water. Having more than one Coven of witches in the Star Wars galaxy makes sense, however. Other cultures would perceive the Force differently, and wield it in different ways. The galaxy is a big place, after all. Although we see the Coven destroyed, we have a feeling that they are not the only Coven of similar witches in the galaxy. Or maybe even on Brendock. We're sure to learn more about them in the remaining episodes of The Acolyte. What did you think of the latest episode of The Acolyte? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like the video and subscribe for coverage of the series as a new episode premieres every week, and remember to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you all for watching, and remember, the Force will be with you. Always.